You welcome back to Newsweek, where we discuss the biggest stories that made the headlines in the week. And finally on the show, President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday in Abuja appealed to Nigerians who he might have been hurt in the course of his duties to pardon him. He made the appeal at the banquet hall of the presidential villa Abuja at the 9th and final Salah homage by residents of the Federal Capital Territory, led by the Minister Muhammadu Bello. The president recounted his leadership roles in the country for more than 40 years, serving variously as a military officer, military governor, minister, and head of state, and returning as a democratically elected president in 2015. President Buhari highlighted the strength of democracy as a system of government, particularly in providing opportunities to participate and fostering a sense of belonging among citizens. The president stated that he would retire to Daura, which was far away from Abuja, in order to get some respite after years of work. Joining me to discuss this is Kalajaye Paul, Rep-elect Jeremy Federal Constituency, in the studio with me. Good evening, sir, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening and good evening, viewers. Nice to be with you again.
Right. You will agree with me that this current administration has faced a lot of criticism, and now President Buhari is asking Nigerians for forgiveness. What would you respond? How would you respond to his speech?
Well, it's normal in the Nigerian perspective for people to ask for this kind of forgiveness when they are going. Because to err is human and to forgive is divine. So it's normal in the Nigerian parlance. But beyond that, it's also commendable because President Buhari seems to have imbibed the tenets of democracy. Otherwise, as a military head of state, they have no apology for ills committed. So he is an admission of some wrongdoings, an admission of the fact that he's human and that he's fallible. He could commit offense, he could, do things the other way, but he has asked for forgiveness. So for me, I do not see anything wrong in doing that. But we must learn not to look for apologies all the time. We must learn to do things rightly and do it well. So we will not be full of apologies. Nigerians have gone through some kind of challenging times. But of course, that's what governance is all about. What they see in government, those of us outside there may not see it. So when you do a reversal and you sit on the other bench, you're in the newsroom, you are the presenter today. What you go through on this seat, those outside do not see. What we watch in 20, 30 minutes is a whole day, 3, 4, 5, 1 week production. So, but then those who watch us will watch us for only a few minutes.
All right, the conclusion part of his speech, he also thanked Nigerians for tolerating him for almost 8 years. How would you rate his leadership, looking at what he could have done differently?
Well, like I have said, rating the Buhari's administration is a 50-50 thing. And I'll call it a 50-50 thing. One, holding the country for 8 years as a united entity itself is an Herculean task. It's a very diverse country, a country with all manner of people, a country with so many ethnic nationalities, the tribes, the religious aspect of human being in Nigeria, the culture, a lot of things are enabled in governance. And so for anybody to sit on the seat for 8 years, and like he said, he also alluded to the fact that he has served as a military governor, he has served as a former head of state. So service has been his watchword all over the years. So for me, it's 50-50. Holding on Nigeria, one, a credit. Two, running an economy that is most challenging, particularly there is a global meltdown. The global meltdown is called global meltdown because it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Also, thirdly, running a country at a period when the major stay of the economy keeps nosediving. The price of the oil never rose. It's been fluctuating, but in most cases, downward fluctuations. So he really did not have the quantum of resources that the previous administration had. The Jonathan administration ran a government that was in a boom era. So he ran a government that is not in a boom era. So the United had enough money to play, resources to play with. He did not have sufficient resources. So if you look at all of this, and then you merge it with the inflation that is concurrent with ailing economy, the sufferings of the people, then you look at the other side and say, yes, there are a lot of things that he could have done rightly that was not done the right way it should be done. For instance, I cannot explain the changing of the Naira face in the midst of a transition time. I cannot explain the running of the economy that is more digital when you know that there are rural communities that do not even access to POSs, that have no access to this kind of facilities. So I can't explain that as a politician. But then, we want to thank Nigerians for their level of tolerance. I wouldn't believe that the level of tolerance and resilience of Nigerians is that much. People really suffered. But in spite of the sufferings, people still pursued the agenda of democracy. Everybody was determined we'll have the election. No matter how tough it is, let's have an election because we want a change in government. We want somebody else to take over and see what can be done in terms of, redeeming, in terms of ameliorating people's suffering. So I commend Nigerians. So for me, it's a 50-50 thing. He's done his bits, and he's said he's retiring to Daura. We can't wait to go to Daura. We can't wait to see him off to Daura. We can't wait enough to see an Ashwaju government to come in. And let's see what an Ashwaju magic, an Ashwaju's ingenuity, an Ashwaju's, economic wizardry will do to revamp the economy. And then what we can see of an Ashwaju who will use his political sagacity and come up with a team that can run Nigeria purposefully better than what we have seen. We've seen Ashwaju, and everybody has given him his mandate, and so the ball is in his court. And those of us that want to work with Ashwaju, we must also be determined to join hands and join forces with him to ensure that we can run a country where we should all be proud of.
Speaking of Ashwaju's envisioned administration, how much tax would you say is before this president-elect, looking at so many, like we just told the aviation sector, to hold on that for this next administration, how much tax are we looking at for the next president?
You see, it's going to be an enormous task. It's going to be very enormous, very Herculean, very, very big task, I must confess. Why must it be that big and enormous? It's because things have not really gone down well. And so, in such a circumstance, we're looking at an Ashwaju's government that must be able to first and foremost put up the right team to work with. He's been known to have done that. When he was in Lagos, he was able to put a team. The team still run Nigeria till tomorrow. Most of those of us who worked with him, I worked with Ashwaju. I served in his cabinet as a special advisor on rural development. And there, under him, I got my tutelage of about service to humanity. So, ability to put up a good team, that's one. Ability to also be able to damp some consequences. Because to really run this country, you must not be mindful of whose ox is God's. You must be able to take some decisive decisions, especially about things that will help us revive the economy. You must be ready to plug the loopholes. There are leakages in the economy. There is no doubt about that. He must be quickly, and he's done that in the past too. He was able to generate the revenue of Lagos from a 600 million to about 10 million before he left. So plugging the loopholes are very important. And then also to draw up programs programs that are more people's-oriented, programs that are centered towards the revival of some economic activities that are predominant in the early 80s, early 90s. The cooperatives must come back. The cooperatives must now come back. People must be able to enjoy cooperative activities whereby they can enjoy some facilities. There are a lot of things that needed to be done. So these are factors that are important for the Asiwaju's government, and I do not have any iota of doubt he will do his best. We must also pray for him. We must also pray for the country that, we will have a team that can save us from where we are today.
Right, we all are looking forward to the next administration and hope they will get the ground running when they come in. Right, I've been speaking to the Rep-elect Kalajaye-Po Ajeromi Ifelodun Federal Constituency so far. And I also had earlier Niyi Staliu, political analyst, join me via Zoom for other topics. And that's it. Thank you for joining us. But remember, you can follow the conversation on our social media platforms at TVC News NG, on our website at tvcnews.tv. I am Jacinta Agochukwu. Until next week, it's goodbye.